Tamiya XV-02? Wait, what? It's a welcome surprise with rally fans all over the world, and another great option for the growing popularity in RC rally. But this isn't Tamiya's first trial at running 1/10 scale chassis off-road. They've done it with several chassis, in several different configurations, using belts, shafts, converted buggies, front motor, mid-rear motor, and all of that research led to the XV-01, or so I like to think. Tamiya's first rally spec chassis with a design of its own. When it was released in 2012, it didn't share any suspension components or frame with another car. It was in fact an entirely new design from the ground up, using what I like to think was their knowledge from their previous trials. However, this is not the video about the XV-01, nor is it a comparison between it and its new rival. I will be focusing on my thoughts regarding the XV-02 in this video. Let's have a look at it together. Looking at this picture provided by the interwebs, we can clearly see a lot of detail. I'm going to get out of the way things that are the same or similar first. There's not much. Looking at both ends of the vehicle, we can see that the suspension arm and hub system is lifted from the XV-01. And that's further confirmed by Tamiya in their description here. The only difference here is that it now has 6 degrees of caster angle. That's 4 degrees less than the XV-01. What is caster and how does it affect the car? Well, to make it short, quick, and simple, caster is the angle of the steering axis in relation to a true vertical axis. Have a look at this picture. In these cars, we have positive caster. And in this case, it helps to self-align the wheel straight, creating better cornering exit, all the while lifting the car in corners to help it lean to the outside wheel. This can create a very positive turn-in feel. So as far as similarities go, we've got suspension arms, hub system, and that's about it, other than rally wheels and tires included in the Pro Kit. Going back to the suspension, it comes with aluminum long stroke dampers, which was previously only offered with the long stroke damper kits for the XV-01. Moving over to the drivetrain, Tamiya states that they've provided 2 sets of gears for the differential units, 39 teeth and 40 teeth, 2 of each, essentially allowing the user to create an over or an underdrive experience if they so please. Why, do you ask? Why would somebody want to do this? Well, this is very interesting if you ask me. If you overdrive the rear of a vehicle, you create a rear end that is constantly trying to come around and catch up to the front end, opening up opportunities for extremely beautiful sliding rally action. If you overdrive the front end, you create a serious pulling effect, more than likely making the car very stable as the rear is always dragging itself straight, much like a large transport truck activating its trailer brakes to straighten out. Don't want overdrive? Well, you don't have to. Don't want underdrive? You don't have to do that either. At the time of recording this, I haven't had enough time to process the possibilities of this in various situations yet, but it's grand, let me say, and I'm very excited. Now moving over to the main chassis, things to note immediately. Front mid motor mount. Stand-up steering servo next to the vertical battery tray. Moving to the center, many people have claimed center diff, but Tamiya has not mentioned that, and I don't see how that could work alongside the overdrive system. Let me explain to you what I mean. If one of the ends is over or underdriven, that would essentially force the center diff to constantly diff out because they're spinning at a different rate front and rear. All the time. But I don't know. I can't see what's under the gear cover, but I have a feeling at the most part it may only be a slipper clutch. Moving to the back, we've got ample room, it seems, to install electronics of your choice. Within reason, of course. And I can't help but notice the transponder mount, telling me that Tamiya wants you to go race this thing. That gets me excited. but not as excited as what looks to be molded plastic guards at all four corners of the chassis. And furthermore, Tamiya confirms in the description that they will be including a polycarbonate chassis dust cover with wheel well liners. Wow, finally, a new rally-ready chassis by Tamiya. Engineered from the ground up for off-road. I'm super excited. And sorry I keep saying excited, I'm just really excited. Alright, so now we've introduced the entire chassis, what are some more thoughts I have on it? Well, most of it has to do with handling, but before I start there, I'm very happy to see a shaft-driven option. Belts off-road weren't as bad as you think, but still not the easiest to maintain. I'll take the possible torque twist any day for easier maintenance. I really like that they've kept the XV-01 suspension parts, ensuring the production of XV-01 parts for us. I also really like that they included the dust cover, but it hasn't been shown yet. I truly believe this XV-02 will be the quicker of the two chassis. Mid-motor layouts have proven themselves over and over again. Off-road, on-road, the turn-in and balance just can't be matched. And because of this, I also think that the XV-01 driving feel and experience will not be replicated by the XV-02. So they are in fact two very different vehicles to me. You see, something very important comes into play here, geometrically and physically. I'm going to try and make this as basic as possible and not go too deep and get lost with too many factors. But I'm going to talk about point of inertia, or rotational inertia. What is rotational inertia? Khan Academy says rotational inertia is a property of any object which can be rotated. It is a scalar value which tells us how difficult it is to change the rotational velocity of the object around a given rotational axis. Point of inertia is the point of rotation. Example, let's have a look at my XV-01. The chassis is this rectangle. The added electronics that weigh a lot are represented by this rectangle. For example's sake, let's pretend that both chassis are 50-50 weight distribution. The center of the chassis is here, and the center of the electronics are here, leading me to believe that the point of inertia could be somewhere around here, closer to the front of the car. If we go back to the XV-02, the chassis rectangle is here, and the electronics rectangle is also here. In fact, focusing most of its heavy components very close to the front center, still creating a very steering positive car, while increasing rear weight bias for better forward acceleration. Of course, this is all just my own virtual simulations in my head. But evidence does show promising mid-motor properties, and that is the reason why I think the XV-02 will outperform the XV-01. However, they both will feel very different, I think. Keep in mind, none of us have had this in our hands yet, and this is all just me coming up with an educated guess of what it might be like. So take it with a grain of salt, share your opinion down below, tell me what you think as well, and I'd love to have a chat with you. For now, that's about all I can share with you without having it in my actual hands. But I think this is one you won't want to miss if you like off-road rally cars. Thanks for joining me, and see you again soon.